My mom taught me to sell at a spaza shop. She ran a hair salon. I pretty much learned entrepreneurship from my moms.
Umntu ngumntu ngabantu. That on your own, you can't really do it. You need the support of those around you.
You will have a network of people, a network of communities, and a society that will make sure that you count. Network of communities and a society that.
Good evening and a very, very warm welcome to this evening's edition of SAITA StraightTalk. It's a few minutes after 7 o'clock and we have to apologize. Very, very often we have little gremlins that seems to creep in, and tonight was really the first night where we've been so affected by gremlins before we start that we've had to start a little bit later. But here we are and we are rearing to go. Now, SAITA StraightTalk is brought to you and powered by the South African Informal Traders Alliance, the voice of the sector and the one that's recognized by government. We are also the driving force, this alliance, that aims to unite the sector with one sector, one voice. Now, in our SAITA StraightTalk series of discussions, we tackle the hard stuff, we tackle the not so hard stuff, and we often celebrate. Now, tonight it's a little bit of both, but it's also not just a celebration that ends in a celebration, because really this celebration is just the beginning of lots and lots of hard work. Tonight, my panelist and guest in our SAITA StraightTalk studio is our National Director of SAITA Membership. Good evening, Paul Bester, and a very, very warm welcome to the panel this evening.
Good evening to you, and thank you for having me.
Now, Paul, we've traveled down this road. I think it's no coincidence that tonight is the 46th live episode of SAITA StraightTalk. When we embarked on this journey last year, we knew what we wanted to achieve, and never did we think that 45 episodes later, we would actually be able to really celebrate an achievement and a step forward for the sector. But before we tell our viewers what the celebration is all about, let's go back to COVID-19. Let's go back to 2021. Let's go back to relief fund being offered to businesses. And what happened to the informal sector at that stage?
Good evening, Louise. Thank you for having me. Yes, COVID happened in 2020. The 26th, funny enough, the 26th of March, it's just a few days from now, President said, stay home and stay safe. But that word, yes, and you think of many thousands of ants that cannot stay home. If they stay home, they will die. And so many of our traders had to go out and sell, stuff, fruit stuff, food stuff, products that they sold to stay alive, because the tax fund, as it was affectionately known by all of us, was not applicable to the informal sector. So business people, those who in full employment, received tax. They applied through a certain process and they were assisted. The traders, however, were not allowed to do so, and there was no relief fund from them. So for months and months, there was a fight back and forth, who's going to assist, how it's going to work out. Today we can look at the 350 rand that people that is unemployed and traders and gets, but that was only like after a year and a half. So many, and something else that also comes up is how many of the traders today being outside during the lockdown period, trying to put something on the table and being arrested for being inside the house or out, that kind of thing. So they have this criminal record that for looking after themselves. So what happened was what was there for the for them to do but to trade. And when they did not trade, they grew up. And every month that you needed to trade, you needed to have a permit. And if you don't have a permit and you don't pay, you're not allowed to trade. So that was one of the biggest issues that happened during the COVID lockdown. There was no money, and those who didn't trade couldn't put food on the table.
But then through a little bit of talks and a little bit of rumbling and shuffling, something happened in terms of a government gazetted proclamation, and that aimed to offer some sort of assistance to the informal trader. But even though that was also something that was initiated to offer some sort of alleviation to our informal traders, it also then rather started a whole lot of headaches for a lot of our traders across the country.
Yes. So in what we called in South Africa, in the Twitter and in Facebook, the family meetings that President Ramaphosa had every now and again when levels were lowered or lifted. In one of these family meetings, he said that we need to look after the informal trader. And he said that it's impossible to continue doing the work with all these financial pressures, especially here in 2021 when we started to lift and people had started to move out at certain times. There was curfews. And then on the 15th of July, a government gazette number 44853, and I know that many of the city and government officials are listening here. So if you're listening, government officials, 44853, signed by the then Minister of Small Business, indicated a relief to the traders. It said, and it was very clear when it talked, it said, every trader who has a business license or a permit that expired during the period that commenced from 26 May 2020 up to and including 30 June 2021, that's more than a year, are deemed to be valid, and the validity periods has been extended to a further grace period up until the end of 31 December 2022. Now, taking this at face value, every trader in South Africa that's trading on a legal permit falls under this ambit, 2.2A of the government. Every trader that trades legally would have had a license or a permit which was valid during that time and which lapsed. The president opened this and said, you are welcome to trade, and it won't cost you anything. There was also something that we spoke about this morning about new applications. If you had a new application and you knew a new trader, because we know.
I want you to hold on to that. I want you to hold on to that one, Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, I want you to hold on to that because I want to touch on that a little bit later. So there was this. So there was this.
Yeah, you asked me to speak. What happened? The traders were to start to trade again without paying a permit, having a normal permit that indicated that they had one during that period, even if it lapsed or they didn't renew it. They would be allowed to trade and they would not have to pay any fees to trade up until the end of December 2022. That's what the government gazette proclaimed it to be.
But what happened in reality?
In reality, many traders lost the stuff that they sold. Many of them received fines for trading without any permits, or told that they were an illegal trader because they didn't have a legal and a lawful permit. Many traders went bust because they lent money from neighbors to go and pay that 121 Rand or 141 Rand monthly so that they can trade, whilst the government gazette was very clear that they did not need to trade. So what happens is a trader sells fruit, for instance, bananas and apples. It's confiscated, and over and above the 500 Rand fee for trading, you need to pay another 2,000 Rand to free your products from, where it's kept storage. When you go there 7 days later, your apples are rotten and the potatoes, your bananas is juice. So you've lost everything. This is what has happened. More and more traders started to us and tell us that they cannot, why, and they would refer to me and tell me, what about 2.2A? That it says we can't trade, but the cities keep on trading. And approached the city of Cape Town, we approached the MEC, we approached the mayor, we approached the Ellen and Windy Premier was approached. We even sent a letter to some of the other provinces. It fell on deaf ears, and traders were still being fined and being confiscated.
Yeah. Now, I want to quickly come closer to the Western Cape. Now, I know last year when you started reaching out to the provincial government about this issue, you had some form of a response back from them. Just give us an idea of what the content of that response was.
Well, the community safety indicated to me to say that this government gazette, national government gazette, is open to their interpretation value. Municipal office, president of the country and its regulation. Look, we'll see if we want to implement it. We don't really believe in that. We'll see if we implement it. That was one of the responses. Secondly, it said that they will deal with it. Each and every municipality has its own right, can use its own, what's the right word I'm looking for? It can interpret it on its own way.
So their own discretion.
That's their own discretion. That sometimes English is like time, it gets finished when I'm.
That's all right. But especially after a long day
so,
like today.
Own discretion. The own. Correct. Thank you. So they had to use their own discretion how it implements this government gazette, a national government gazette. And we found many are traded the Western Cape, then had fines and knocked the door to say they are still finding us on WhatsApp groups on a Sunday afternoon. You'll find somebody from a market sending on a group. Here they are again, fining us again, another 500 Rand, another this, another that. And so there came a time when I said to myself, and I said, we don't allow this anymore. We need to get legal intervention. And we plan something on that, yes.
But then, and we're talking specific to the city of Cape Town now, because we're really using this as an example, but also to show the rest of our country that there really is merit in aligning to the voice of SAITA. So after you've written to the city of Cape Town and they've responded, they then changed their minds a little bit on the 6th of January this year, didn't they?
Yes, indeed. The circular that was by the MACO member from, I think at that time it was, can't remember it was source, but it was from the Office of the Economic, stating that inside a council meeting, the city of Cape Town took note of the pressures and the struggles of the traders and will then, therefore, put a waiver of permit payments from the 1st of January to the 1st of July 2022. So they've taken the 2.5 years of the president and reduced it to 6 months. But that's besides the point. The fact of the matter is the city decided that they will give a reprieve for payment of for 6 months, 1st of January till the 1st of July of 2022. Yet, in the same period, and the person that we are going to referring to tonight received a fine from that very city on the 14th of January. 14 days after the implementation of its own office and its own structures, they decided to still send out a fine and fine the gentleman that we are going to be discussing a bit later.
And that's quite interesting, because the one thing that the president made very clear in his State of the Nation address was that he recognized the effect that red tape has on our businesses, and especially on our informal and our micro businesses. And I mean, this is something that seems to be rearing its head time and time and time again, and nobody seems to show some sort of compassion for really the most marginalized in our economic structure. Yes.
If I speak under correction, Louise, but if our record shows that 15% of the GDP of the country is up to the informal sector. And the informal sector, as we said, it's formal economy, is one of the creators in South Africa. And government said it, or the president said it in SONA, is that government is not there to create jobs. It should create fertile opportunity for jobs to be created. And you know that with this project of the 1 million jobs by the end of December, 2023, this is something SAITA is very, very passionate about. And one of the reasons is the red tape. And as soon as we can alleviate many of the red tape so that business owners can start trading, open up businesses without all these permits and documents and whatever it is that the city and the municipality, if we can get rid of that, we will be able to do that 1 million job creations and even a bit more. But government needs to come to the party. And one of the biggest issues is permits to trade. The way that there's a fixation on permits and documents by the cities and municipalities, it's just mind-boggling. To people to tax, but they prohibit them. It's like people want to stop you from doing business, but they want you to pay your tax and your dues as well to the country. It's like it really doesn't make sense, and we really, really hope. And putting on the red tape, I would just like to make a mention of this. I met the minister in the presidency's office one day after. I said, please, minister, when you do this discussion on the radiation, please say leadership.
Paul,
There's somebody that
you're
needs
gonna
to know about what's happening on the floor. It's us. Yes.
Sorry, Paul. You're gonna just retract a little bit and go back to you spoke to the minister in the presidency because you're breaking up. So we're losing a lot of what you are saying.
Okay, sorry. I'm not sure what tonight is the data shows 50 meg, but I'm not sure what's happening. Anyway, I spoke to the minister in the presidency, Mr. Enoch Kurungwana, and we indicated that we wanted to be part of this alleviation panel. He did so. We wrote him a letter, and as a matter of fact, the answer for your letter, as we start, which is in the next week or two, you will be contacted and included. So, second part of his so that the community and economy in South Africa can grow.
Okay, that's fantastic news. But now, before I ask you the next question, I just want to remind ourselves, and I also want to remind our viewers as to what SAITA's vision is. The SAITA vision is to be the unifying body for the informal trading sector in South Africa through active advocacy, playing a leading role at being the catalyst for innovation and transformation, whilst ensuring that equal opportunity and dignity is protected. Now, I feel it's important that we put that there as the base to where we're going now, because then you get alerted. You get alerted to this trader that on the 14th of January was fined, and he was trading in a legal trading space, but he did not have his license. So
yes,
the national rules are bent. The city of Cape Town's own rules are not being adhered to. What happened from there?
So I was eluded by traders in the area of a Mr. Gideons. His name Etienne Gideons, who was a trader trading in Kuils River with a permit and a concession on him. As a matter of fact, on him had a document, a COVID-19 concession allowing him to trade in that area that he trades. It's a legal trading area of the city of Cape Town, and it's a bay that's allocated to him as a trader. And they fine him 500 for being a permit, having unpermitted. That's what the fine they get. I get alluded to this, and I get the copy of the line that was in the talks of a bylaw of 1992 that's now being looked upon. 1992, that's pre the election. At the time of 92, Nelson Mandela was still in jail, and we are using that bylaw to deal with traders in today's democracy. I couldn't believe it. But that being said, I looked at it and said illegal trader, and I'm saying, but what about the bylaws? about the government gazette. We have a government gazette dealing with it. It cannot be. And so I took it upon myself and the gentleman in court today. On the 1st of March 2022, he had to appear in court for contravening that bylaw and trading without a license in a legal trading spot. So we went to court this morning. I went to the judge. I showed him only the government gazette. I did not even need to do a presentation. I just said to him, we are disputing the fine. Here's the government gazette, Leroux at number 2.2a. He took it. He said to us, stand down. 10 minutes. Come back in 10 minutes. He gives the charge sheet, standard case withdrawn, and he says, you can go. This is City of Cape Town is sending out illegal fines. And we left. It took us less than 5 minutes. Now, if a judge who's got no understanding of legal terms, who's not part of any department of safety or security, looks at one document, exactly what it says, without guiding him, without evidence, without verbal presentation, how much more it's the City of Cape Town playing in the hands of the devil, if I can call it like that, by not adhering to what the national government says out. I'm looking at how many other documents are there and issues are there that we are not even aware of. I'm not even talking about politically so, of the Western Cape, that people, let's go, I don't want to go there, but people of color and people of poorer communities are being marginalized by the City of Cape Town and the Western Cape government with these kind of actions. This is one action that I lifted out, took it to court, and within 5 minutes the judge made a ruling. Just shows you the way that things are being done in Western Cape is not correct.
But let's talk about, you're talking about other rules. Now I want to give you the opportunity to just go back to that little piece in the government gazette that you read earlier, but just below it, we came across something even more important earlier, and that speaks to people who now want to enter the trading market. What does the law say about that? Because I know there's lots and lots of municipalities that are refusing to hand out new trading permits.
Correct. We were told that there's a moratorium on the handing out of permits for new traders. Yet, this government gazette says, and I'm going to read the 2.2b, the submission, and I'm going to be verbatimly carrying it over so that we don't make a mistake. The submission and processing of new applications for business license and permits, commencing from the period 1 July 2021, meaning from then on, even today, and applications that were not processed during the period of 26 May 2020 to 30 June is permissible, wherein upon minimum requirements being met by licensing authorities, a temporary license or permit may be issued with a valid period ending on 31 December 2022, and very important, no fee will be payable. Now with new traders, it seems the government gazette is very clear. It talks of minimum requirements, and I know exactly that it talks of bylaws in certain municipalities where you will, for instance, deal with food. The person needs to have the health certificate, or if he cooks with gas, that certificate of compliance for the gas installation. These are the minimum requirements talking about. And I'm all for that. I surely don't want to go and buy a hamburger and get blown up because the gas is fixed wrong. So I'm happy with that. I'm saying it's the city, municipalities across South Africa are putting their own rules and regulations according to a national government gazette. And these are the things. And so what I wanted to say as well tonight, Louise, and to all the others is, we've taken you to court on one issue of the permit. Don't let us go to court again for not giving. We will be on you. Remember that this is the first bite of the cherry that we had. And in SAITA, the cherry is sweet. Very, very sweet. So don't make us go and have another bite at the sweet cherry and eat it all up, because there's an opportunity for you now to start to debate with us and come to the party. What we will do is this ruling, and myself and President Rashida from SAITA is busy drafting a document that's going to go to the Premier as well as the mayor and the appropriate MACO member of the economic development. We will also send this to all other 9 premiers in South Africa, informing them of the outcome of the law. Remember, the government is a national entity. This document today in court was signed by the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice, not Western Cape Justice, Department of Justice. And that means that it's applicable to across South Africa. So we are going to take time of dealing with our traders as third-class citizens has ended on the 1st of March of 2022. We will not allow that. We say hands off our traders, and SAITA will not be played around like we used to. We are ready for it.
But now, Paul, this now creates an opportunity for you to tell whoever's listening that this opportunity to be represented by SAITA, when a trader is faced with these kinds of difficulties and he or she might feel that their hands are tied behind their back, because it is quite intimidating going into a municipal office, or for instance being faced by a whole lot of law enforcement officers. I mean, what do? We saw last year with the video footage of the trader in Johannesburg, just how defeated that lady was when all these officers stood around her and literally bullied her out of her stock. So what does that mean to traders that have not yet signed up with an organization, or it does not know how to get in touch with SAITA to be part of this voice, not only the voice outwards, but also to be covered by this umbrella, to make sure that you have safe trading conditions?
You know, there's a union proverb that comes out that says, you know, divided you fall, but united we stand. And I think today SAITA showed that being united, we stood up against these atrocities from the municipal officers, and it was success. We knew, I myself knew, particularly 99.9% that we will be successful, but to achieve. But what we need is organizations to under the SAITA. So my call is, you read this SAITA, that starts with 061, my office. Let's join the organization into the environment of SAITA. Let's become a united force. You started the conversation 5 minutes, 10 minutes ago with our mission and vision to unite the informal sector for dignity. I think one of the most dignified we saw was that lady. So much so that the president made mention of her in the sauna. In the State of the Nation, he made mention of her, that he saw this on a video clip, and it irked him. It made him angry that we allow these things to happen to informal traders. It might not mean much to anybody else, but to me it touched the heart of the president. And that means that the informal sector is very important to the president, and then obviously to government of the day. And we ask government today is, let us work together. As SAITA, we will do whatever we can, but we cannot do so if we are fragmented and everybody fighting for it. Then we will have issues like that, because nobody to help you organize, and nobody to go to. So use the email, join your organization into SAITA. Let's build strong districts and sub-councils so that we can stand up for these kind of atrocities, because that's what it is. That's an atrocity against humanity. We cannot allow that, and we will not allow that as SAITA. So what we will do is also this ruling of today, we will send it out as far as wide we possibly can on WhatsApp, on Facebook. We will talk about it. We put out the media statements. Talk to me about it. Even if you're not organized, I mean, I'm making the call tonight. It's a clarion call for formal traders. If you're not joining SAITA and you have not joined us yet, at least give me a call so I can take leadership that you can understand. Talk to us so that you become part of it. We cannot be a problem anymore. We need to be part of that solution, and the solution is unity.
Paul, I so much want to continue this discussion, but the signal is just not playing along tonight. I think we've captured most of the excitement of the day, and really we've broken ground as SAITA. Congratulations to you and the team, and well done to Mr. Gideons for actually reaching out to SAITA and saying, let's do something about this, because we all know that in a climate where we know that victimization is so prevalent, it also does take a lot of guts from a trader to say, help me with this. But thank you for your time. I wish you all of the best in fighting all of the battles that I'm sure is going to come your way. I think we have just woken up and given lots and lots of traders across the country an opportunity to put their hands up and say, come and fix this. So tonight, I think it's quite apt to end SAITA Straight Talk by just saying, Viva SAITA, Viva.